Okay, now we've got over onto this. Managing. There we go. Superb. Live on YouTube. Bear with me while I customize the stream. We have a thumbnail. And we know that we'll be clipping all this stuff off at the beginning later and re-uploading, so that's all good. No. Save that. Okay, we are good. We're on, and we're on the air. Hello, Ginger. Welcome into the chat. I hope we're looking good on here. Should be looking awesome. Hi, AG. Welcome to the live stream. Okay. Okay, TikTok people, I'm making the move over. So we'll see you shortly. Bye-bye. And so ends the TikTok live stream. Right. Okay. Now I can have this weird thing in my head for the next 20 minutes. Oh, it's even longer than that, isn't it? Anyway, I forget where I'm live now. Not live there anymore. I'm live there. We're in a YouTube mode. Hello, Christine. Welcome to the chat. Just tweeting out. So I figured what I'd do is I'd go live for a bit myself first. Because I've been live on TikTok and now we're live on YouTube. I'm also going to take this out of my ear because it makes it hard to talk when there's no one on the other end of it. I'm live on Twitter as well. I forgot about that. Hello to everybody watching on Twitter. There's nobody watching on Twitter. Right. So I thought what I'd do is, the live stream was scheduled for 9 o'clock. So I thought I'd come on here, do a bit of a live stream, and do this before Crystal comes along. I also still need to email her the link, which means I need to have a link. So this is sort of like the awkward early part of the show where I just rambled bollocks. And the idea is that by the time people actually turn up and start watching, that I'll have gone through this phase. But then I'm going through this anyway. It makes sense in my own brain. So I'm getting distracted by my TikTok messages. There are so many. Where are we? There we are. Hi, Kat. How you doing, honey? How you doing? We're live. I'm live, honey. I'm live. Look at me doing it. We're doing it. But yeah, so tonight, this is my first BPD person on the channel, which is quite odd when you think about it. I've only ever spoken to narcissists, which is kind of Jacob's fault. Not in, not to issue blame, but in a kind of he reached out to me first of all, And so until I spoke to him, I hadn't spoken to any of the YouTubers. And so everyone I've come into contact with, like after that, has been just another narcissist or narcissist related person, which is fine. But what it means is that I'm like 3 years into this, and I've never had anyone with BPD on the show. Which in and of itself is a weird thing. She's very real. Absolutely. So hopefully, yeah, I'm just going to riff with you guys for 10 minutes or so while we wait for people to turn up. It's still not even 9 o'clock yet. Technically, we're early right now, which is such a rare thing for me. It is such a rare thing. I was actually planning on going and getting a cup of coffee, but we'll wait. And plus, I just want the caffeine. Oh, it's so hot. I'm only going to mention it 30 more times. As it's how I roll. Let's answer some questions. Hi, AG. I'm currently counseling with 2 different therapists, face to face, and the other one just on the phone. Never seen me. They both said it doesn't seem like I have MPD, but I've been hiding in home 3 months. Are you saying that you think you have MPD because you've been hiding at home? That's not necessarily a very MPD thing right there, is ultimately the problem. So my advice is to listen to your therapists. More often than not, my advice is listen to the doctors, unless they're trying to tell you something crazy. But you know, do what the doctors and therapists tell you to do. You know, but the self-diagnosis thing can be a tricky thing. It really can be. I think what it boils down to is, are you getting a treatment that helps you? And if you are, then great. And if you're not, there's a problem. And all right, you found MPD online and then you just hide at home because you show you have it. There's a lot to unpack there. Because even if you have it, what, you shouldn't go out? Should I not go out? That doesn't seem to scale, right? I don't think not going out is a very good idea at all. So what you need to do if you've decided you've got MPD, I don't know, everything. Listen to your therapist, honestly, because not going out is not MPD, right? It's just not a very MPD trait. And you have to admit that the propensity for a human to self-diagnose with something because they've stumbled across it on the internet is very high. And when you're fortunate enough to be working with therapists, then you sort of have to go with what they say. The fact that you mentioned that, you know, one therapist hasn't even seen you face to face, do you then not value that therapist opinion? I don't know. There's a lot to challenge there, to be perfectly honest with you. That's a big one. I do need to invest in an AC unit, but they're a fortune. If anybody wants to buy me an AC unit, then please feel free to do so. I will happily have one. There's one I'd like. It's £400. Rooms up to 60 meters cubed. A DeLonghi Pinguino. I love that. It's £367. But it can be here by Thursday. It's just not. Oh, then again, there's one for 90 quid. Right, hang on. Maybe I just need an air conditioner. Oh, it's 90 quid because it's tiny. Oh, wait, no, it's not tiny. I should have one of these. I'll add it to my wish list. There you go. If anybody wants to buy me something off my Amazon wish list, feel free to do so. It's on earlymorningbarking.com. Because I was reliably put your wish list up. People want to buy you stuff. No one's bought me an Xbox yet. Right, AG, your schedule not be right. If you're scared that finding out that knowing you've got NPD will make you change your behavior, then this is not NPD we're talking about. Okay? And when you're talking about you being scared that you'll be fake or manipulate someone, you're talking about involuntarily doing something that needs to be done willfully. And that's not a thing. Okay? You're not just going to find yourself manipulating somebody. Is rambling about things that make you mad and people that make you mad an NPD thing? I don't know, but I do it a hell of a lot. I think it's weird to have BPD and NPD because BPD says I need somebody and NPD says I don't need anybody. No. Not at all. Not at all. NPD isn't I don't need anybody. NPD people need everybody. We absolutely need people. There's no question about it. But also, don't forget, these things don't always contradict each other. Sometimes they complement each other, right? For example, when you have BPD telling you, hey, your friends don't like you anyway, they're just putting up with you. Then your NPD will say, you're better than them anyway. And it will sort of bring up this reinforcement. Splits on BPD and NPD can be far worse when they amplify each other. But NPD isn't about not needing anybody, not at all, not by any stretch. It's very much a needing people sort of thing. Because otherwise, how are you narcissistic? You need other people there for that. And it's entirely based on fear anyway. So we're just as scared to be left, to be undervalued, to be not loved, just as much as BPD. It just plays out slightly differently. But these things are all motivated by fear. They're all the same underpinnings. Fear, self-doubt, all that sort of thing. They're all very similar. I feel like my NPD traits come up as protection after the fact of my BPD. I've often felt that sometimes, that the NPD makes up for the BPD. It's the, it sometimes feels like it is kind of like the polar opposite, but it's also not the polar opposite. It just allows me to feel a bit, it allows me to hide the pain. It allows me to pretend that the pain isn't there. And to pretend like I'm above the pain or something like that. It lets me, it really helps. But I've often felt it's very much a defense mechanism. very much a defense mechanism, because, but there you go. You see, in the same way that it is, narcissism is fear, self-doubt, self-loathing, all of that stuff. And so when BPD is telling you that you're not good enough and not worthy of love and not deserving of anything and that sort of thing, the MPD will come along and back you up with that. But then it will put up this protective shield around you that stops you feeling the full brunt of that, even though you are very much doing it all out of those fears and feelings of inadequacies. It's weird, isn't it? But it's what we do. I feel like I'm mostly struggling with my BPD at times, but I feel super embarrassed or ashamed when I see my MPD traits coming along. I mean, right, this is the thing. I enjoy my MPD traits. They make me cackle with an evil laugh. As bizarre as it is, I have not gotten anywhere with feeling too bad about them all. I can feel bad about an individual act, about, I don't want to hurt anybody, I don't want to upset anybody, all of that stuff. Yeah, but generally in, the fact that these thoughts go on in my head entertains me. And it does make me feel somewhat superior, however misplaced or incorrect that may be. And yeah, it's a defense mechanism. It's all defense, and it comes from my own feelings of failure and inadequacy and that sort of thing. Hi, Dog Training Mexico. How's the weather in Mexico today? Alexa, what's the weather like in Mexico right now?
Currently, in Mexico City, Mexico, it's 22 degrees Celsius with cloudy skies.
It's the same as here. And you also have thunderstorms, right? What are we supposed to do with that? Question for the world. I tweeted this earlier and no one answered me. People just went, yeah, right? I've been getting thunderstorm warnings all week from the Met Office. Every device, like, thunderstorms, right? What do you want me to do with that? What am I supposed to do with the forewarning of a thunderstorm? I unplugged the telly. That was a thing we did in the 80s for some reason. Whenever there was a lightning storm, Mum would unplug the TV. The theory being that the lightning would strike the TV aerial on the top of the house and blow up your television. So you had to unplug the television aerial during a thunder and lightning storm. Never once has that happened. Not once ever. But, but what am I... You've never seen... It's never one... Like, family was killed today during a thunderstorm because they forgot to unplug their television set from the aerial. The aerial was struck by lightning, causing the television to explode, killing the family and their dog instantly. No, that's never once happened. That has never once been in the news. That never happened. It's not a thing. And I need, like, advanced... Like, they seem overly concerned that it's a thunderstorm. I don't know what I would have to do differently from a storm which did not involve thunder. Unless they're giving advance warnings for people who are very scared of thunder. That's the only thing I can think of. Like, make sure you've got your thunder buddy with you and all of that. Because what's going to happen? What am I supposed to do with that? Stay inside, stay dry. Well, yeah. I didn't need an emergency warning from the Met Office. For that. The world record holder for being struck by lightning was 7 times. 7 times? Who? Roy Cleveland Sullivan, born February 7th, 1912, was an American park ranger in Shenandoah National Park in Virginia. Sullivan was claimed to have been struck by lightning on 7 occasions, surviving all of them. Gained the nickname Human Lightning Rod. That's clever. That is a clever nickname. Some thought went into that. So hang on, these are documented. Like, he was really struck by, yes. Oh, hang on. All 7 strikes were documented by the superintendent of Shenandoah National Park. However, he was not present at any of the reported strikes and was not an active and present superintendent for many of the times the guy was struck. So this guy says he's been struck by lightning 7 times. And the guy that backed him up wasn't there for any of them, nor did he even work at the national park during the time that many of them occurred. But he said it definitely happened. This is on. I'm just looking at the Wikipedia. I mean, he is the official most lightninged person of all time. 7 times. That is absolutely correct. That is in there. I am just personally casting doubt on it because nobody saw this. That's all. I watched Record Breakers. I know that to have an official world record, generally, you need Norris McWhirter there to confirm with a stopwatch or whatever. There needs to be an official thing, and this man seems to be lacking that. I don't think it's. I'm not blaming him though. I mean, the Guinness people are to blame for this because he really is in the Guinness Book of World Records. That is totally correct. He died at the age 71 from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. 2 of his Ranger hats are on display at 2 Guinness World exhibit halls in New York City and South Carolina. So there you go. You're not too far from one being on display in New York right now. I assume he wasn't wearing that one. But is this just based out of sort of, if you've been struck by lightning 7 times, that's like a level of pain and upset that the rest of us just like aren't ready to go through? So just it had enough of being struck by lightning. So I don't know. Like, was he like, the clouds are out to get me and now I just have to end it before the lightning finally takes him? Is that what happened? That's very sad. That's very sad. Mind you, we don't know what other shit he had going on, do we? Wow. But there it is. It is in there. It's totally a thing. I mean, the other weird thing that this Wikipedia article, we're not onto BPD, MPD stuff here, are we? Most lightning strikes seem to take place in Virginia. Hey, DC. The odds of being struck by lightning for over the period of 80 years have been roughly estimated as 1 in, is that 10,000? Yeah, 1 in 10,000. If the lightning strikes were independent events, the probability of being hit 7 times would be 1 in 10,000 to the power of 7. These numbers do not quite apply to Sullivan, however, who by the nature of his work and physical location was exposed to more storms than the average person. Virginia, where he lived, averages 35 to 45 thunderstorms thunderstorm days per year, most of which fall in June, July, and August. Between 59 and 2000, lightning killed 58 people. Dear God. Injured at least 238 people in Virginia. Terrifying. Oh, hang on. Oh, I missed you there. Hang on. Hang on. We'll get this sorted. And hopefully we'll get Crystal in. Do you know what my trouble is? Is that I'm using this system. Oh, there we are. Gotcha.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, how you doing? Good to see you.
I'm well. Hi, nice to meet everybody. Hello, I'm Crystal.
Hello, good to have you on the show. I feel like this should have happened a while ago, but it's good to have you finally.
Yes, better late than never. That's what I say.
Absolutely. So you're actually my first BPD person, which is the other weird
Really?
thing about yeah. And it's just because
Wow.
most of the other content people I know are through Jacob, so it's all tended to have a bit of a narcissism tint to it.
Yeah,
which
for
is
sure,
fine.
for sure.
But
Well,
ultimately,
I'm honored to be your first. Thank you so much for inviting me.
It's good to have you. It's good to have you. So I don't know. There's like
Thank you.
I'm right in talking to another BPD person. There's so many questions that I'm sort of tempted to just ask right off the bat that are just overly personal and inquiring. Like,
no, go for it.
It's kind of which things are the same. It's like I want to find out. Like, I don't know. So,
which things are the same?
Which things are the same? What do we both go through? What do we both have? All that kind of thing. God, I know.
Yes, yes.
But
totally.
Also,
you know, it's funny. I was thinking about that too.
And I'm kind of also wondering, like, where are you about in sort of your journey of living with it all? Have you done therapy? Have you done anything like that? Yeah. Is that one of those like, oh, I've done therapy? Kind of. I'll tell you about therapy, right?
It's one of those things where I was like, I need to try every single kind of therapy there is. Right. So I've done a lot of different kinds of therapy. Yeah, for sure. So I've had BPD for most of my life. I mean, they say that you can't get formally diagnosed until, you're 18. And that's, I guess, justified because they, whatever your brain develops. But like, I don't know. I definitely have related to the symptoms since I was like 13, but yeah. It's so that's one of the things where like people are like, they see that they have symptoms and they're like, oh, I have BPD, but it's like personality disorders. Like you have those your whole life. Like that's like your personality, like long time history.
Yeah. There's so much.
I think for sure that.
Go on, you go. Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. Sorry if there's lag. I was having some problems connecting, so there might be a little bit of lag. My bad. But no, yeah. So I didn't do therapy until I was like 16, and even then, talk therapy wasn't enough for me. Did you feel like therapy was effective for you?
To a certain extent, like some of it, right? Because I feel like there's like three prongs of what's going on in my head. I think there's BPD, MPD, and ADHD. And the ADHD is kind of the jury's out on that. There's no formal assessment there. That's I'm awaiting that, but the other two are definitely there.
Same.
And the therapy really helped a lot with the BPD stuff. More than anything, that became really quiet, and it helped a lot with all of that. The MPD, not so much, because
Mhm.
it's so weird, some of it. And I think I did group therapy, and there was no one there that had anything to relate to with any of that.
Really? That's
yeah.
To me, that
Nothing.
was the most effective. I needed the group. I needed the validation of like other people and like hearing other people's problems. That helped me so much. So much more than one-on-one.
Oh yeah, I loved the group, and that's what that helped with the BPD, and finding out that it was the finding out that it wasn't just me going through this stuff. And I remember being so happy after the first session that I was just, we'd spent an hour and a half listening to complete strangers cry and share their problems.
I know.
And I'm sat there, just the biggest grin on my face. And I was, so what did you think? And you're just like, you're all as fucked up as me, and that's amazing. This is just, I found broken people, and I love it. I'm so happy. Sorry about why you're crying, but yeah, I love it. It's great, I
know. It's like not having to put on that mask. Like it was just kind of like a moment of like, oh, like we can all just like lay it all out there. And that was to be like, okay, not the only one.
Yeah, absolutely. It was such a big help.
Yeah.
So did any of it help you? I mean, what did you find to be the most effective thing that you did?
Yeah, so for me, I really loved the adult partial hospitalization program that I joined at a psych like hospital. Like they had like a whole campus and everything. So there was like inpatient, and then one step down from that was the partial hospitalization, and that was like 6 hours a day, 5 days a week for 10 days. But I was there for like 15, so I got a lot of really good stuff. And it was so great. It was like a structured day where like we started off with like, we did like the serenity prayer, doing a check-in, like, do you want to hurt yourself today? That kind of thing. Like, it was so awesome having a space where you could just like kind of start the day and like just worry about your mental health and nothing else. And then that led into like a psychoeducational class. So we like learned about our mental illness, and like it taught us about trauma. And it was like taught by therapists, like licensed therapists. And then we had a one-on-one meeting like with a doctor, and they could prescribe you medication. They didn't really change my medication though. Because BPD, like there is no medication for BPD. So, and then there was like group processing. So to me, like learning about it and not having to be on the hot seat and talk about like just myself and then overthink everything and then like open all these wounds. It was like I got to distance myself from it, and like they just like taught us about like codependency and attachment styles, and like I saved all the worksheets, so I would just revisit those. And that was like the most. I mean, it was like thousands of dollars though, and I could not afford that shit today. Like if I was
gonna say, yeah, but it sounds really good though.
Yeah,
it does sound really
good.
Yeah,
it really was.
Sorry. Before we go on, can I get you to leave the stream and come back in again, because it's so jumpy, and I just want to see if getting you to rejoin sorts it out again. So,
okay, all right, I'll leave. I'll come back.
Okay, cheers. Thank you. Sorry, everybody. I'm just trying to. If we can get things sorted, I'd rather get things sorted, and it shouldn't be too difficult. I have no control over any of this though, which makes it more difficult. It would be good if I could change things. And then didn't have to edit out bits like this later. I mean, ultimately, that's the what we really want, isn't it? But I don't know. Should I keep using this system? I mean, I just get it as part of something else I subscribe to, so maybe I should pay for something different. I also need a technical difficulty standby thing, which would be very useful. Coming on soon. I never know what to do. I mean, you have to just sort of blag this, don't you, really? And just sit and wait. Maybe something happens, and it takes as long as it takes, but it's such a pain. I was thinking about, my first podcast with someone was done over Skype, and you had to do it by connecting one computer to another computer. And now we just do stuff on phones. And so it's kind of never all that surprising to me when things do eventually just break or just don't work properly. Oh, there we go. Oh, perfect. That's much better. Hi.
Perfect.
That was definitely worth it. Yeah.
Good.
Excellent. So anyway, so that was a what did you call it? Like a partial hospitalization.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds really good.
Partial
though.
hospitalization program.
Right.
APHP. Most people, they just refer to it as partial, though. That's like psych students and doctors, and like even they don't like call it that officially, but everybody just calls it partial.
Right. I see.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
And
I
then
like the sound of that.
yeah, that goes down, and like they have you go down. So after that, then you do like IOP, and that would be like intensive outpatient. It's like half the time. And then you do one-on-one. But like DBT is like researched and known to treat borderlines too. So I've definitely done that. And it helps, like, but to me, like learning about the trauma was more useful and valuable for me. It was more validating.
Yeah. I feel like the DBT deals with the more practical day-to-day side of living with this. Because I don't know how you feel about it, but I always felt like there is some of this stuff is sort of emotional, based in trauma, based in life. You can talk your way through it. You can change your thinking, that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other stuff that is just weird, and it's there, and there's nothing to like. I don't know what I can talk about to stop dissociation. Like there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't know. It's not linked to. It's not like fear of abandonment. That one's easy.
Right.
I can talk about that all day. But dissociation and like, I don't know. And so yeah.
You don't experience, so like dissociating for you, is that to like more emotional or like mental?
Oh, it's mental. It's not emotional dissociation. I stay fairly present. I just detach from reality, and I become. I describe it as like I'm saying it's like a dreamlike state doesn't do it justice. I'm conscious. It feels like I don't know. It's so weird to describe. I feel like I'm sort of visiting here, like I don't entirely belong here.
Yeah, like an alien,
like,
kind of,
but not another species, like another reality, kind of like I'm somewhere else observing this.
Wow,
that's what it feels like for a bit, and I just feel very detached from everything. Like I'm here, but I'm not part of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, really numb. Like that to me, I understand that as feeling really numb to like everything in life, and definitely have experienced that periods of that big time.
Yeah, it's almost like the level of separation of like playing a video game. It does feel like suddenly I'm in a game, some sort of real-time strategy kind of thing.
Wow.
just out there in the world. It's like playing Zelda, that kind of thing. Yeah.
This is wild. I was just thinking about Zelda like hours ago. That is wild that you just said that. It is a video game.
That's how dissociation feels. And I have my little inventory bag of stuff I carry around with me. And there's all these NPCs out there that I have to interact with. And it's all, that's how it goes. And it's weird, but go on.
I was going to say, like, I feel like the BPD experience it's that, but then every single day you wake up with a different difficulty setting. So like some days it'll be easy. Some days you'll wake up and it'll be like on professional mode. For what? For what reason? I wake up and it's like awful. Like what? I didn't even do anything yet. And then other days you're fine. It's so weird.
Yeah, I wish I knew what did that. And that's,
Right?
that's the stuff that I'm talking about. Like, no amount of therapy of going and talking about your emotions deals with that. It's just when there are days when you wake up and your brain says,
Yeah.
no, not
Yeah.
today, not today.
Yeah. I have researched like what could, like, I mean, it could be anything. You could be, I mean, everything affects you. So like your diet, like environmental factors, let's see, exercise, like anything can, but like your neuro, yeah. So that's what I feel like having like those brain imaging things, like that's like really useful for that. And that's like the kind of thing that should be taught. And like therapists like don't teach. They're not trained to teach you things, but that information, like even just to be like, there's like a scientific explanation for why your brain does that and why you wake up. It's like, okay, like, so at least I have a reason now. I know why, and I don't feel like, I don't know, like I don't know, something that I did or whatever. And I mean, we can always influence it, I think, but yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. That's something I'm exploring recently as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nanya. I'm gonna say to the comments. Thank you.
Yeah. I'd love to know more about why my brain does what it does when it does it. Do you know what I'm realizing as well? How I'm extremely seasonal.
Yeah.
In mood, in everything. Like right now, as we go into summer, this is the happiest, the most stable I get, the most motivated I get. This is peak rich in June, July, August.
I love it.
And then we're going to descend into the dirge that is September to like March, May next year.
Man. Oh, well, what for September? But don't you like Halloween's? I love fall. Like that gives me dopamine. I love Halloween.
I get a little bit out of Halloween. I mean, we don't. It's not as big a thing here. This is the thing,
really?
but it is. It's becoming more so, and I think honestly, it's people just trying to grasp onto another kind of. Let's do a happy thing because it's October and it's fucking miserable out. Yeah. So let's do something fun, and I'm all for that. That's fine with me.
To me, like that starts like more in like the dead of winter, like after the holidays and like, you know, New Year's Eve is over and everything. It's kind of like the sun like literally goes down. I mean, I think vitamin D we're probably more sensitive to like vitamin D levels, and that's why I think the sun is so important. There's more in the summertime, and then as soon as it goes down, yeah, that affects us, of course. I mean, seasonal depression, but it's just like a vitamin D thing. But like nothing replaces the real sun, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly feel I've always thought if I could just go and live somewhere nice, then I'd be fine. Right?
Yeah.
It's the fact I'm not supposed to be in the north of England. I'm supposed to be somewhere in the south of France. That would be good. Or Spain. You know, just somewhere where it's a lot nicer and I could just get stuff done. But then I'd sit around complaining it was too hot anyway. So
it's true. I am very hot right now. It is sweaty. It is hot summer right now. I was wondering where you were from because I noticed your accent and I didn't ask, and I apologize.
Yeah, no, I'm in West Yorkshire in England.
Awesome. I visited England once.
Whereabouts did you go?
London?
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Other places around too, but that's mostly what I remember.
It's the best place to go if you're only going to visit one place. You go to London. That's understandable.
Well, it wasn't. I was on a choir trip, so we had like a scheduled tour, and London.
Right.
Yeah, we went to Wales, we went to Ireland, and someplace near Germany. It wasn't in Germany, but it was really cool. It was fun. I would love to travel back. I wish I could have seen the castles and everything. I didn't get a chance to see those. So sad.
That's true. We do have a lot of castles around.
So cool. I love the old buildings. Amazing. Anyway, so I totally went off on a tangent. That was just ADHD from me.
I do the same thing. I am that. God, what was it? There was a meme I found ages ago that was showing. It was the line of an ADHD conversation, and it was that first like triggered me onto realizing, oh God, I think because it was. I looked at it and I thought that's every podcast I've ever recorded over a 15-year period.
Yeah.
Hello, today we're talking about this film. But first, let's talk about these 92 other things that have nothing to do with that film whatsoever. And maybe by the end I'll remember that I'm on a podcast even.
Yeah.
And that was, and so you start to realize, I don't think I'm paying enough attention to stuff. I don't think I stay focused. I think I have trouble staying centered and all this sort of thing. So
I need some cue cards. Give me some cue cards and get me back.
I forget to look at shit like that, though. It doesn't, right? People say, remind yourself, write things down. Do you know how many? Right. I am surrounded by notebooks with the first page.
Nothing.
Yeah. There's so many, and right, the first page of every notebook has a list, stuff to do, things I need to do, all of that sort of thing. And yeah, I'm just gonna buy that, write that, and forget it in 5 minutes. So
yeah.
it's just
tough.
one of those things.
Yeah.
I need, right? This is why I wear a watch. I need stuff strapping onto me physically. That's what I need. I'm not going to notice.
Out of sight, out of mind. Yeah, so you need it. Like, totally.
I have to ask as well, because I've just seen it in the background. Do you play bass as well?
Oh my gosh, yes, I do.
Awesome.
I do. You do?
I do. I do as well.
Awesome.
Now we have to look at the correlation between BPD and bass playing.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started. I'm just doing it for fun now. I did used to play in bands and like I was a whole career musician. Do you play?
Oh, wow.
Do you like Yeah.
Do I play? Yes. I've just I've just left a band.
Oh, okay.
Because we were too long, right? We lost a singer, then we're too long looking for a singer, and then everyone else got together and said, "Shall we just become a Stone Roses tribute band?" And I said, "No, I don't want to be a Stone Roses tribute band." And they all said, "Well, we're going to do that anyway."
No.
I need to find a new band then that's not a Stone Roses tribute band. I would like it to be a tribute band to a band I like if I'm ever going to do that. But again, my narcissism will not allow me to be in a tribute band to anybody.
Yeah, because it'll never be about you. It's you performing. You're playing a role. And I feel like that I've experienced similar things where people were always like, why don't you do Broadway? Because I also love musical theater. But I'm like, I would rather like write the show, like, and then just like do it, do a performance of it. But
that's it. I don't know. I could play a role. I could do that. I could like, I don't know.
Could if I wanted to.
But being on stage and trying to be, like dressing up as someone, right? Because do you know what the difference is? If it's like a Broadway show, if it's a theater production, if it's a movie, anything like that, you're playing a character. In a tribute band, that's a person. That's like another bass player who just got in a better band than I did, and now I have to pretend to be him rather. Yeah.
You're impersonating.
Fuck that. I'm not doing that. I can't do that.
Yeah. If I'm gonna have the like balls to be up there out in the first place, like I'm gonna do it all the way. Like I'm gonna be me. Like
absolutely. So no to the tribute bands for me. But yeah, it's been so long since I've been on stage. I really miss it a lot.
Yeah.
But
that stays with you forever, I think.
Do you know what? Some of the best fun I've ever had was on stage. It really was.
Yeah.
And
it's just you're in the moment.
Absolutely. Which is something I struggle with day to day anyway. So it's good to get that release from it.
Right.
But I get also the external validation and all of that sort of thing, it's always good.
Oh my gosh. See, I get scared. That's where like I feel like it's borderline versus narcissist, because I get more I would get stage fright, and like people would be like, but you've been doing this your whole life, how do you still get scared? Like I don't know, it just does. So that's like something I don't think of it. That's the difference between the two. I think how the pathology, and then I take it like I used to get so like scared that it would impact the performance, and then I would beat myself up about it, and it started to become like self-destructive, because if I was not perfect, like I would want to quit. And that's where like not being in therapy and like not being treated, like that's So I had to take like a long break from music, like for a long time.
That's understandable. That is
Mhm.
understandable. Yeah, the
Yeah.
narcissism carries me through a lot on it. It really
Yeah.
does. But I know
Yeah.
that feeling of that wanting to be perfect, that trying to be perfect. And the more you think about it, the more you can't be. And you'll know that feeling of where you make it maybe 2/3 of the way through a song and your brain will go, hey, you haven't made a mistake yet.
Oh no, you can't even think about it.
And then you
And
fucked.
then what happens?
Then you
Yeah.
that's immediately fucked. And that will happen that has happened every time I've played every song ever my entire life. Hey, you've not made a mistake yet.
No.
Oh yeah, there it is. Thank you,
I
brain.
know. You have to dude, I know. I have to like turn my brain off and just get pure heart into the music. But that's when it's like breakthrough in therapy, when it's just pure heart and you're just lost in it, and it's just like there's not even words anymore. It's just pure movement, and it's that to me is like why I do it. Like I don't even care if people wouldn't even like whatever. Like that to me is secondary. Like it's the feeling, the music. Oh,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the best feeling, and it's almost it's the closest I get to some sort of spirituality or something like that. It's just there's something about the whole experience of just making that thing and it existing in that moment and doing that, and it's just amazing, and the connection with the audience as well.
Oh,
which is I feed a lot off an audience.
Oh man, that makes sense in the narcissist thing. I have to pretend they're not there, but yeah, I can see that for narcissists.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, unless I feel really safe. I have to feel so safe because it's like but no. Anyway, that's the difference.
See, this never occurred to me what it would be like doing it without the NPD. Because it really does. It brings out, I just lean full into that entitlement and that whole sort of, you'll fucking look at me. Yeah, I should be on the stage, all of that kind of thing. And you just, I just run with it. And you let the BPD quieten a bit down until you start, if something goes wrong, it can come back and all that kind of thing.
Right. That, yeah. So no, that makes and then you know what? I think in the entertainment industry there are a lot of narcissists. So this actually makes total sense to me. Like that's like lead singer vibes. Like that's like it makes sense to me. Like but that's also why I also had to kind of take a step from it, because I was like, I realized that there was a pattern in behavior from people like in the industry, and I was like, this is not healthy for me to be around this much, like especially not where I was at that time. I think now I would set stronger boundaries, and I for sure am, I know what I can and can't, or what I will and won't, rather, not can and can't, I can, but it's a choice. Yeah, environmental, Caitlin, totally. I'm also kind of lady champion. Thank you. I'm glad you're loving the conversation. Sorry, I just I look at the comments sometimes. I just need to say hi to you guys. Thanks for watching.
Hi guys. I'm not ignoring you. I'm sorry. I'm not ignoring
no, you're right. It's ADHD. See, I get ADHD. Facts. Facts.
So yeah, the narcissism carries me through a lot with it, and this is why I don't entirely hate my narcissism.
I know. Yeah.
It helps a lot with the BPD sometimes, and it gets me over those. Like I've never felt things like I don't deserve love or don't deserve things.
Wow.
Which is a common. Yeah, I've never had that. It compensates for that. And there's this, I have the very cynical, no one deserves anything. Deserving something that as a concept is bullshit. Wow, and so I kind of just, I push through that.
The harsh, yeah.
I think it's so true. When you look at people who are rich, when you look at people who are in power, are these the good people? Are these the nice people that they deserve what they've got? That's bullshit. People get what they get. And as people with BPD, we worry about what we deserve, but it's just it's what we deserving something is what we tell kids to get them to behave.
Whoa, you're right.
And we carry it through into adulthood for some reason. And the people who get and the people who get what they want are the people who say, no, I want that. I'm having that.
Wow. Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
Oh gosh, and that
and,
that
and
self-destructive, like I don't deserve it. It's like you're just stopping yourself from getting it then, and that's the
mhm,
heartbreak. And we
yeah,
know it, like we know when we're doing it too, and it's we just like have to move. We have to move through the horrible feeling. Like that's yeah, yeah.
it's
That's
such a
very yeah.
yeah, it's such a difficult one to get some people over though, and I get it a lot from people. Like they'll
Yeah,
just like I don't deserve
yeah.
to find love or whatever it is. And you're like, you know you do.
Yeah.
Like it's we get in this funk. We get
Mm,
you do. You
yeah. That's so positive. I love it.
and
'Cause you're
it's like
right.
because I think you have to be careful not to fall into this. Yes, you do. No, I don't. You do that. No, I
Yeah.
don't. I
Yeah.
can't. Like there are people I'll just like. Okay, you think that for a while and come back and
Yeah.
you'll feel better about it later.
Hopefully. Yeah. Oh, so
Do you
true.
find that? I mean, we say very commonly that like narcissists don't get into therapy because they think that they don't need it. But I feel like in BPD, we tend to wallow in the sadness with it and think that we can't get better. And we'd rather,
What's the point? Yeah. Like, what's the
yeah.
point? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, and
Mm-hmm.
my evidence for this, which is fairly anecdotal and not scientific at all, is
Yeah.
that if I make a video talking about how shit BPD feels, it does really well. And if I make a video saying how you might be able to stop that bit of BPD feeling really shit, no one watches it.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, because people, well, and that's also partly because algorithms favor controversial content that feeds into high emotions. So anytime you think about, or anytime you talk about something that's gonna like bring up stuff or trigger stuff, it's definitely gonna get higher engagement. But like, whereas yeah, if you talk about healing and stuff, a lot of people either don't believe it so bad that they're like, I don't even want to watch it because I don't believe it, or they're not interested in it, or they think they're like who it's really that belief part. And yeah, it's the whole wanting to get better. You can't force somebody, and those people will be ready for that content when they're ready for it. I think it's still worth it to put out because it'll reach the people who need it. And but like I think that there's a part of like the whole like worrying about the metrics thing. Is that like a narcissist thing to like worry about your numbers or your views? Like if something doesn't
I
go,
don't know.
like play.
What do you not?
I did not say that. I mean, listen. All of us do. I think everybody does.
I check my metrics 8,000 times a day. Just
yeah.
the
Look at me, I'm, like,
YouTube
turning
Studio
red. I
app.
know.
Yeah, the YouTube Studio app is on the front of my phone. It's like it's up there with answering WhatsApps and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I will pick up the phone, unlock it, just check that, and then go about my business. So
Oh my gosh. I don't look as much actually. I just like trust. I'm just like I just want to trust and see whatever happens. I feel like if I like look too much, if I overthink, if anything makes me overthink, I don't even want to look. Like I'm just gonna put it up there. And
yeah, I
That's
feel like
me,
I
though.
should do the same thing.
Yeah, I know. Because if anything that causes anxiety, I just have to boundaries. Therapy.
Yeah. Oh, some things that cause anxiety, I totally ignore. I still cannot open the fucking mail. And it's
Oh, the mail. Wow, that's yeah, dude. To me, it's like emails. So the mail is kind of like I don't get a lot, but like emails.
well, emails are all right for me because an email, whatever's in it, when it's sent to me, I know who sent it, and you get your subject, and you maybe get a little 1 or 2 lines of the email, and you get that as you look at it. There's no choice but to see those things. Whereas
That's true.
whereas that mail, you
True.
stuck a brown envelope through my front door. I didn't ask for that. That could be from anybody.
That's true. Yeah.
And no one has written to say, "Hi, Rich, how you doing? I hope you're all right." No one's
okay,
done
everybody
that.
has to write. Everybody has to write to Rich now. Everybody write to him and say, "Hi, how you doing?" Okay.
Well, whoever's written to me is written to say things like, "You owe us money for something you've forgotten about," or something like
yeah.
that, or you haven't
Yeah.
filled this form in, or you haven't done this, or whatever. It's all only mail is only bad. It is exclusively bad.
No news is good news, right? That old
Exactly.
saying.
And so, yeah, that is still a part of my day that I wake up, come downstairs, and walk
Damn.
towards the front door with trepidation just to make sure that there's no mail today.
Oh,
And when there's no mail, then I can chill out and start the rest of my day.
dude, living in that kind of like having that fear every day, like that has got to affect like mental long term, because that's like a nervous system dysregulation to have to
Hell
worry
yeah.
about that every day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's one of my big clouds that hangs over me.
Yeah.
And I've just never quite gotten over it. It's a bit more of a job for DBT at this point, I think. It was
yeah.
It was my first experience with CBT, right? Before I did proper therapy, they sent me for one session of CBT, and I sat down, and the first issue I brought up with the woman was not being able to open the mail. And she sat there and she looked thoughtful for a minute, and then she went, have you tried opening the mail?
Oh my god!
And that's one of those times where you come very close to impulsively just slapping somebody. You know, one of those like where
Dude,
maybe
I would have freaked out. I would have raged. Literally, like right that, like literally.
It was that was the end of my CBT session.
Yeah,
and it was decided that did not work for me from there on. And that maybe some sort of talking therapy would be better.
Dude, see, I'm like, oh, this is so relatable. That happened to me at a bank once. Like I was like having trouble with some overdraft charges, and I was like, what can I do to make sure this doesn't happen? And she was like, have more money. And I was like, bitch, did you really like, I was like, if I could, I would. Like, I really did freak out. It was bad.
I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often. Somebody just gets a hard slap, and you both stood there, both as surprised as each other. Like I don't know how that happened.
Oh my God,
it just you face, said that thing, and then suddenly, bang! I don't.
Dude, I like reached forward and grabbed her business card. I was like, okay, like cluster B.
Yeah,
cluster B
don't fuck with us.
I do feel bad though. I like afterwards. I was like, okay. But like it's just like, you know, when we're struggling with stuff, you have to have common sense of what to say and what not to say. That's all. Especially in like therapy, and when talking about like you're in like money, like, you know what I mean? Like those are sensitive things, and like you would think that the person would know better than to say something like that. I'm always surprised when doctors ask me how I got CPTSD. I'm like, is that any of your business? You don't need that for the medical record. Like, you're just taking my pulse. Like, can we?
Yeah, I get asked all sorts of inappropriate things. Not by doctors. I have the displeasure of going through the hour. So I have to go to the job center every so often and kind of pretend like I'm looking for work and that kind of thing. And the woman that I see will ask me questions about my mental health and that sort of thing. And they'll try and do stuff like they think they're helping when they're actually like being really inappropriate and borderline offensive. And when you're talking about things like, well, I don't want to work in an office full of people because of these reasons. And they go, would you like us to send you on a social anxiety course? And you're like, no, I don't.
No,
I don't have social anxiety. In fact, as a narcissist, if you put me in a room with people and tell me that they have social anxiety, I might just take over the group or start my own small army with weak-willed people who are there to be scared. I don't know. This is all very bad.
They don't understand. They're they're like not informed. They have no idea how to work with people like cluster Bs. Like it's just no. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, you know,
yeah.
And it's actually a forthcoming thing that I have to have I have like a note from the doctor, like a fit note that says diagnosed with BPD, MPD on it. And they go month to month. And I just know that at the end of the month, they're going to say, well, aren't you all right now?
Really?
I'm like, yeah, and I'm gonna have to go. No, I know the form is dated for a month, but this is a forever.
I'm cured.
Right?
My personality, all the trauma that happened in my childhood, it never happened. You're right. I'm all better. Thanks.
Yeah, do you know what I am? I just needed a couple of extra weeks, and now it's all healed.
All
No
better.
problems anymore.
Get out
Put
of here.
me in that
Oh my
office
God.
full of people. It'll be fine.
Yeah, right? No. Facts. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You know, but I try and remind myself they're doing their best, right? They're trying to help. They don't know what they're doing, but maybe that means they shouldn't try and fucking help. I don't know.
I know. See, that's wise mind. That is really good. That is wise mind talking, knowing that people are just doing the best that they can. Everybody is messed up. Everybody has flaws, and
this is the therapy coming out. That's
exactly. It's working. Yay!
Yeah, that's the therapy. These are the things I can point to and go, look, I didn't used to do that. I would have used to just destroyed that lady for no reason, and I made her cry.
Right.
And security would have come, and so many things. Hi, Jacob. Sorry, we have to say hi to Jacob.
I did wave. I don't know if you heard me, but yeah, no, therapy is definitely working. I was like so proud of myself. I was gonna go and buy a chocolate bar with my credit card, and I was like, nope. I'm breaking this. And I drove home, and I was so proud. I was like, yes, little wins. We have to celebrate.
Absolutely. I've just had that conversation on a TikTok live stream of like credits for big things like a house or a car, and I shouldn't have ever paid for a night out with a bank loan.
Right.
But
I know that's how they get you. Ugh. And then you just keep doing it, and like it racks. Yeah. Well,
I know, right? And do you know my big thing was always clothes though, because I go through this. I split on my wardrobe every few months.
Yo, I split on my wardrobe too.
And I'm going through it at the moment. Like I need to replace every item of clothing that I own because it's all shit now.
Worst. It's the worst. And then you you throw it away, and you have to buy new stuff. I've like bought things back. That's how bad it was. Like I got rid of something, I bought it back. I'm like like at that point now, I'm just like I can't. Like it's dude, so relatable. We split on everything. It's not just clothes. Like I've split on like items, I've split on like instruments, I've split on websites, and like just ran anything.
Oh god, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. I mean, I've done it on people most of all, I think. I can split on people really easily. I used to really easily. And I have I've had some fairly biblical splittings on people.
Oh no.
Over the past. But it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. But again, that's the therapy again. So it's all good.
Yes,
there is light at the end of the splitting tunnel.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, my motto now is do it tomorrow. Whatever you're gonna split on, whatever you're feeling, if you're right about it, it'll be right tomorrow. So do it tomorrow instead.
Oh, that's so insightful. You're so right. That's true.
Do it tomorrow. T-shirts are available on Redbubble every day.
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
There you go.
Dude, but like that was something I had to learn too, and I feel like it was. To me, I connected that with learning how to appreciate delayed gratification because of knowing that it's going to be the same tomorrow, and knowing that something will happen even if I don't feel it right this very second, which I've definitely struggled with my BPD, like big time. Needing the answer right now, needing to be like, I don't know, right, or having the thing, like that was definitely something. And then knowing that it's going to be there tomorrow. Yes, that was one of the biggest things.
Because I don't think people understand, like when we split, how right we think we are. Whatever conclusion we've come to, we are.
It can't be changed, right?
No, and we've got all the evidence we need. I always come to think I'm being pretty reasonable. And I've arrived at
Yeah.
whatever. Surely every reasonable person would arrive at the same conclusion with the same evidence as me.
Right.
And it's not
right,
until the day
exactly,
after
right.
when you go, hang on, this is bollocks. And everyone around you goes, yeah, we tried to tell you yesterday, but you couldn't hear it. So
Oh no. Oh, it's like, don't shame me. Like,
it's like, why didn't you say something? We did.
we
Did you?
did. Like,
You
oh,
just told
yeah.
us why we were wrong and did it anyway.
I didn't
yeah.
want to listen.
I've never been hesitant to split on anything. It seemed so right at the time. It doesn't feel like a split. It doesn't feel like,
Yeah.
you know.
To me, I had to like just if I see something that I think would make me split like that, I just kind of start detaching sooner so that it's not like as big of a thing, you know.
Yeah,
I kind
yeah.
of like put that boundary up.
Yeah.
That's helped a lot.
It's a tricky thing to stop that splitting. But I've managed, I think if we can reduce the damage that we cause, you know, because that's what leads to the unstable relationships and the breaking up and getting back together and all of that shit. And,
yeah. There has to be damage control. Because we don't that's like the shame that comes back later. It's like, oh, I am a monster. Like, look what I did with this person again. Like, try to avoid that.
And then we go into that. And so I don't deserve to be around people. I don't deserve to have love because look at all this evidence that I have got.
Yes!
And it makes perfect sense.
Full circle.
That's it. That's how we do it.
That's it. That's how it goes.
We are just a self-fulfilling prophecy of misery. And it's just... Do you know what? I swear a big factor on getting over BPD is reaching the point where you're just fucking bored with it now.
Yes. That's it. Yeah, you kind of just get over it. I'm like over it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think that was the point, Ari. And of course it doesn't start you, but you need that kick, that spark that kind of makes you go on and say, right, I've had enough now. I don't want to split on anything anymore. I don't want to keep shouting at people and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how's your rage?
How is my rage?
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I had a pretty bad episode recently, and this was like the first one off my meds. I went off my meds. And it sucked. Like I really was struggling, and I'm kind of sad about it now, but I'm also not because like I can just make a new one, but I kind of destroyed my painting.
Yeah.
So sadly, but other than that,
yeah,
I can just make a new one.
I suppose so. It does give you reason to make a new one. Yeah. I've not destroyed anything for a long time.
Same.
There have been I was driving a car with a large dent in the side that was about the size of my fist for a while.
Oh. Wow. Oh, the car. Oh.
It makes me sound super strong. I'm really not. I think I just caught it in the right place and maybe broke a finger. And there was just...
It does make you sound super strong though. But yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, don't break. That's the thing. Like, I don't actually want to like do anything. You know, like to me, it was just like a painting. Like I just redo that. Like, I don't know. It doesn't ever get to the point where it's like, I don't know, anything that gets taken out. I would try to take, before I was in therapy, like it would be something I would take out on myself. So having something to have an outlet for it, working out has been really, really helpful for this, especially with like feeling mad because you can just put it all at the gym. Oh, it's so good.
Mm-hmm. Exercise is so helpful. And I say that as if I do it. I just did it for a bit and found out how helpful it was and then lost my motivation and can't get back into it.
Oh,
but I know enough to know that you're totally right in what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it does help so much. And I did it like I was working out through video game because I figured turn it into a game and it might help. So I did the Nintendo Ring Fit thing, and I did the
Oh my
fitness. Yeah, and I did
Nintendo.
the fitness boxing game, which was such a
Nice.
great way of releasing
Oh,
tension.
nice. Oh, I gotta try that. What? Love
So I
Nintendo.
do recommend that. I do recommend that. But you can like give yourself a small hernia doing Nintendo Ring Fit, which puts you off exercising for a while. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So careful, everybody, with the leg lifts, is what I can say.
Yeah.
But you are absolutely right. Exercise helps.
Wait,
so
Caitlin?
much.
Caitlin asked, "Do you like roller coasters?" I don't know who that's to, but I love them. So that's my answer.
I love roller coasters, right? What? Right? Do you have fear when you get on a roller coaster? This
oh
is
my
up,
gosh.
this is
Yeah, but
right?
I do, but that's part of it's anticipation. Yeah.
Right. What is the fear of?
It's more like I think just like a shock of seeing where you are, like especially when you look down or you look around and being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm up here." I don't know.
Because this is my fear, right? When I get on a roller coaster, and I love roller coasters too, I am scared to death the whole time that the thing is going to break. The car will come off at the top of the hill, off into the air, and I will go with it. And so my entire fear, the entire roller coaster ride is, am I going to die when this ride breaks? It's nothing to do with the ride and the motion of the ride or the speed of the ride. That's all just fun. I'm like, I think the rail's going to break and I'm going to die.
Oh my gosh, it's the intrusive thoughts. It's all those intrusive thoughts. Oh no. That's like, to me, that's like the Final Destination movies. Have you seen those?
Yes, I have. It's exactly like a Final Destination.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm afraid of when I'm on a roller coaster. I don't mind going fast or upside down, or that's all fine as long as I know it's gonna work.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter how many times it's like the Final Destination thing. It doesn't matter how many times you've tested it. That bolt is working its way loose a little bit at a time.
Oh,
and it's gonna break when it's my go. You know that one.
No. Oh my gosh. I love the speed. To me, it's like the speed of it and feeling the wind on your face. Love that. I love the motion.
Absolutely.
I guess I just like I focus. To me, I it's the sensory experience of it for me, and I guess that's the thing that keeps the intrusive thoughts away, which is why we learned that in DBT. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can smell, 3 things you can hear.
That's the one.
And it really helps.
I need to get better at doing that because I do have that trouble being in the moment and the intrusive thoughts thing all the time.
Yeah.
And I think
that's like
this
pure
is
sensory.
Right. Because this is where I missed out on not doing the DBT side of things. I think you get a lot more of that stuff that doesn't come up in therapy. Therapy wasn't about like living with stuff. It was about dealing with the past. Right.
But if your day-to-day is all messed up, then it doesn't matter. Like you're working on the past, you should be working on the present. Like
exactly. And there for me, there was some stuff where when I worked on the past, it fixed the present for some of it, but not all of it.
Yeah. Right. It fixes it when it is the immediate like issue in the moment, when like you can't think of anything else but the past. Like for sure, that's like you have to deal with that. Other than that, it's like waking up and like knowing like what, not even like knowing what to do, but just like getting yourself in the routine of doing the thing that's going to be best for your mental health. Like just basically getting on that track, like putting yourself on that way. That is needed in addition to therapy. Like this should be a requirement that you work on both.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It was you just don't learn stuff like that, and it's so important. And it's, I mean, a lot of it is just like changing habits, changing behaviors, and finding a new behavior to have. But I think we forget that, and we just get caught up in the emotion of it all, and we get, I don't know, it can be a bit daunting. And changing behaviors is hard.
Yeah.
Especially when those behaviors like help you cope with stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to like replace it with something that's going to give you the same feeling or better.
Yeah. And you have to do it at the same time as figuring out why you had a problem with that thing in the first place.
Oh man. Oh.
Like if there's a hole to be filled, why is there a hole to be filled? As well as finding something to fill the hole.
That to me, that's what the partial did. It like said, if there's a hole, this is why. That was the psychoeducation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. You do need that.
Yeah, totally. It's just come up for me again with like going through trying to quit weed for the millionth time.
Oh, why do you want to quit? I'm just curious.
Because everybody says it's better to quit.
Who cares what everybody says? What do you want? What do you think?
Good question.
I don't want to be a bad influence. No, well, do you have your medical card, or is it just street?
Oh, there's no medical card stuff here. There's none of that.
Is it recreational?
No. Well, technically, yeah, I suppose.
But wow.
Right. It's a daily, constantly throughout the day thing.
Yeah, you need to moderate it. You can't. I mean, constantly throughout the day is probably not. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's an addiction.
Yeah, but for me, it's still a coping mechanism. It's that it fills a hole. It's a crutch, emotionally, whatever. And so you sort of, before you can get rid of that crutch, you need to fix why you need a crutch.
Yeah, that's tough to do. I mean, I agree with you that it should do them at the same time. That's, you know what I mean? Like, you're figuring it out why, but then you also need to find relief in that moment. So if you're like figuring it out why, but you're still doing it, you're still doing it, like at the end of the day, you know?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
We tend to replace one coping mechanism with another. And hopefully the new one is better, but not always.
Right. Oh my gosh. See, I just cycle between things. I've like I don't need to try anything new at this point. I know it works. I know what I keep going back to. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like a cycle.
What do you keep? Can I ask that? Is that too much? What do you go through?
Well, I definitely I have my medical card, so I like to smoke weed. It does help me though, like genuinely, I do feel relief. But I agree that it needs to be in moderation. You can't do it all day, every day. And I did at one point also use that as a coping mechanism. When my mom died and when my mom got sick, I would just same thing. I would just smoke all day, every day, and that's not good because you do dissociate and you lose yourself, and it's like you got to know who you are, like sober and everything, like you know what I mean, like and having the separation of the two. So that was tough. So I did quit for many years also. But I came back to it. So I was like, well, obviously, you know, this is something, you know, I came back to, and whether or not to continue, I know when to stop and I just, you know, learn how to do it in moderation. And then other things for me that I would cycle through would be like hobbies and interests. And I would go through these things where I would if I thought something was going to be like my next greatest thing or my true identity, I would spend all this money and buy I would buy a whole at one point I wanted to buy a whole sewing kit. I wanted a sewing machine. I wanted to buy a mannequin. I thought that I was going to start making clothes and all just you know what I mean?
Everybody with BPD has a cupboard with everything you need to do ...
Yep.
And several things, you know, it's all in there.
Yep. Like paint supplies, craft supplies, drawing supplies, markers, pencil, resin. I did a Cricut thing. But so I've just learned to, when I want to cycle through things that I already have. And to me, I'm like, okay, at least I'm using it. But also we talked earlier about going through these manic purges and like getting rid of things, and so that's always like something that I think about, like, should I get rid of stuff, should I?
I try to throw out junk, but I do have drawers full of stuff of like, God, all the crap I've been into over the years, so much stuff. And you do it all once, and it's like, this is the new thing that's going to solve my mind, fix my mind, solve all my problems. And then a month later, you're like, why the fuck am I building model aeroplanes? What the hell is going on here?
I know.
How did this? And then you need to stop and get rid of it all. And it seemed like such a good idea at the time. There are, I mean, but I would gather then that in the hobby area, you still have things that you come back to. Because, like, you know, using bass as an example, that wasn't a fad.
Music, yeah, absolutely.
That's been there my entire life since childhood. And there's been times when I've moved away from it, but it's never, ever left me. And there's never been a time when I've been like, right, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
Or anything, you know. And indeed, for me, video games are a similar thing. Like, yeah, that's been my whole life. It's just, they've always been there.
Me too. So comforting. So you mentioned Nintendo. So are you a Nintendo person?
I have. Do you know what? It's a fairly, God, when is it? So the last 6 or 7 years, I became a Nintendo person. When I got a 3DS.
What do you? Okay, 3DS. What else?
Well, 3DS and Switch. And I've had a Switch since launch day. Yeah. And there's, you know, they've all been in the back room at some point. That was I was going to do game collecting once. That was the thing for a while. Until I had all the boxes of games. And then you think, what the hell am I going to do with all these games?
Oh my gosh. So relatable, so true.
You know, just so many things. But it's always been a thing. But yeah, see, we didn't have many classic Nintendo things here when I was a kid. It was all computers in the UK. Nintendo came later.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I grew up with Super Nintendo, so I love the nostalgic, all the stuff, and I love the Switch has like SNES, all the like classic titles, and you could play N64 and even like Game Boy games now. It makes my inner child so happy.
I'm running out of time. I don't have enough time to do all the fun things that I want to do, and I'm trying to think of. This is the other thing where you start thinking, I wonder if I could do like a gaming TikTok and a movie TikTok, because then I should sit around and play Zelda for 16 hours a day. Then I'm working. I'm working if I do it then.
Exactly. So, I'm working. This is my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did try streaming, but I am desperately boring when I'm streaming because I can't do the playing the game and being funny and entertaining at the same time. I can do one or the other.
Yeah. Right.
But it's basically just watching me go like for an hour with my mouth hanging open.
Yeah. Sometimes people like that though. People like to just watch and listen to the soundtrack. You know, that's still a valid, I think, way to stream. This is true. Yeah. Yeah.
Just looking harmless and a bit stunned at the game, but it would be nice.
That must be another thing with like Cluster B, just like needing to try all these different things. Because I've also been like, I'm gonna start streaming, you know, Pokemon, and like I wanted to create like a gaming YouTube at one point. Like like I've had so many of the same like thoughts and like wanting to catapult each hobby and all of its like future like fantasy, and then make like all these profiles for it, and but it would change with like each one, so it's just funny. Like that wouldn't be sustainable to like keep making new ones over and over and over and over and over and over.
Oh God, no, it's not. And I want to do it all the time, and I think it's symptomatic of like the degree to which we throw ourselves into things. Like, it's not just that I want to do this thing now. I want it to be my entire life, and I want to do it every minute of every day, and I want to talk about it, and I want to be known as the guy that does that thing.
What? Right.
And you forget that's gonna last 3-4 weeks tops, and then you're sick of whatever the thing is.
And that, I think people with bipolar, so they experience that too, but because they cycle so much longer, I think for them it's like they would, instead of a couple weeks like it is for us, for them it's like a couple months where they can actually like take something off the ground because they'd be doing one thing for months.
Yeah, I've always been kind of jealous of the longer cycles of things, and it's always I love those moments when you can tell the bipolar people, like when they come in with the, hey, you just cycle like we do, and we go, no, it takes 10 minutes. You don't get it.
Right. No.
And they always, you can feel them sort of backing away with, oh God, really? Yeah.
Oh my God.
What, you go through a manic period, like a length of time?
Yes.
I can't feel that. No.
Right.
You can have a manic 3 minutes tops, then it's back to misery for another 5. Then you can have another 2 minutes of manic. Thank you.
Yeah. And which one's coming next? I don't know.
Could be anything. Might stay with manic, might go to depression, might just go to outright just despair and weeping uncontrollably.
Dude, oh my God. Oh,
I love freaking out people with other mental health problems with BPD. They all think they've got it bad, and then they meet us.
Yeah. I've seen like memes and stuff about like BPD is every mental illness, but like faster. Experiences. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. We're the weather system that changes every 5 minutes, and it's insane and crazy.
I just say I'm never boring. Like you'll never be bored.
I think that's a great way of putting it. I really do. I'm multifaceted. I'm interesting. That's it.
Yes. You like that? Then there you go.
You know, there's all those other people. You know what they're gonna do and say. Whereas with me, just duck.
Be like on the wheel of all the potential things, which one? At least I have a wheel though. Like you'll know. There's just different ones.
It's something off the wheel at least. Could be one of about 8 things, but it's the same 8 things. So you've got that.
Yeah, exactly. See, this is positive. This is positivity. It's manageable, and like that's how it has to be done. You know, that's how, because we can't magically. It's like your doctor saying, oh, well, you're all better now, right? Yeah, like all of that on the wheel is just gone. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was never on the wheel.
Right.
It used to be right in those early optimistic days of. I wonder if you've been through it's cynicism with age, where you used to think, I'm all better now. I'm feeling great. And then that became, I'm feeling great right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and so I'm now at a stage where if anyone asks me how I'm doing fine today. Thank you.
Yeah.
This 5-minute period is A-okay.
Right. Yeah, ask me again in an hour and it might be a different answer, but hopefully not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like learning to just minute by minute, and literally that's what it is. I remember getting like angry that it required so much of my effort and attention to have to care like minute by minute in order to change things, you know, in order to like manage it or get better or whatever. I remember being like, why can't I just like zone out? Like I have to like actually think about this like all the time.
I know, right? It's the amount of energy that you have to expend to just stay level and deal with stuff. It's so much. It's so tiring.
Yeah.
And it staggers me that neurotypical people aren't doing that.
Yeah. I've spent my whole life, I feel like, trying to crack the code. And it's, I think if you get yourself into some sort of routine that makes you feel at least consistent every single day, then it's good. One, that you found a routine that can do that. Two, also have to get good at dealing with interruptions to that routine. And this is where I used to actually question, should I have gotten tested for like autism? Because what I always had trouble with was transitions. And I thought maybe this was a BPD thing, but I don't know if you relate to this, but like transitions and like changing tasks or like an interruption in routine would become very dysregulating.
Yes.
So you also, okay. Yeah, that's something that I've noticed. It's just never, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's a weird thing, and it comes on. It's not regular in the way it comes on, but it is always stuff. It's a change in the way I expected something to go, and if it doesn't have to be necessarily a difficult change or a change for the worse or anything like that.
Yeah,
but if something causes me to reshuffle the organization of events and all of that sort of thing, it is massively distressing and upset, far more than it should be.
Right. And that's when people are like, well, you're overreacting. And it's like, but this is like actually dysregulating me. Like, like, if it was a choice, like I wouldn't worry as much as you're saying, but.
Yeah. And do you know what? I realize a lot of times that it happens has to do with when I think I'm going to be left alone. Right. So if I think I'm going to have downtime, like personal quiet, just being here in my house on my own time, and that is shifted, that's the most dysregulating.
Yeah, big dude. I was like, I need that me time. What do you mean I don't get it?
Yeah.
Really?
That's it.
Yeah, dude, that's the time to decompress and like, oh no, facts. That's valid to me though. I think that anybody like that you should not. No one should ever make you feel bad for that though. You know what I mean?
No, and I don't. No one's ever. I can't think of an example of somebody making me feel bad about that, but it's the one that can set me off the most. Like, if I'm going to meet somebody out somewhere and they're 20 minutes late and that causes us to, I am not going to get fine.
Yeah, actually,
same.
I don't care about that. Yeah, right.
But if it's something you stop me doing that, and now I'm just in pieces, and I mean in pieces. It's not just like I'm annoyed or something. It's
wow. Yeah,
I get the feeling it's one of those times where the neurotypicals would say, well, I get upset about that too when I don't get, no, you don't get how upset. It's
they don't.
Yeah.
They don't get
We're not talking mildly disgruntled.
Yeah. That's why it's so important for us to just keep raising awareness. And that's all we can do, to help people understand.
That's it. That's it indeed. We do what we can, but
yeah.
I don't know what time we're on. Right. Anyway, I thank you for talking to me. It's been an absolute delight. You have to come back on.
Oh, I'd love to. I'm having a good time.
Me too. So everybody, thank you for watching and hanging out, and go and check out Crystal's channel on TikTok and on YouTube. There'll be links in the description below when I put this out as an actual video and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. I will look for more BPD people because we're fun.
Yeah. Thank you, Rich.
No problem. Thank you ever so much. So yeah, right. I'll be back another time. Everybody look out for that. And Crystal, thank you again, and we'll catch you later another time.
Bye, guys.
Right. Bye everybody.